What it does do, everybody, it's your guy Zenkai, and today I'm going to be talking about Crimson Desert and how my experience with it has been so far. But first, I must address the elephant in the room. Yes, I've been gone a while. I know. Your father's home. Did you miss me? Don't worry. I wouldn't come home empty-handed. I come with gifts. I have a newfangled webcam capable of outputting 4K at 30 FPS or 1080p at 60 FPS, but don't worry about that. In addition, I now have a 4K OLED monitor, so I'm no longer upscaling from 1080p. However, my game will be running at 1440p because not even a 4080 Super with frame gen can beat the constant stuttering I was experiencing at 4K. Unfortunate. The audio quality remains kind of the same. I was testing it a little bit earlier. It might be a little bit worse. I don't know. I don't know why. It's the same mic. Maybe the settings are a little bit different. Fuck me, I guess. Anyways, I've been gone for a while, so I thought I'd give y'all like a 30-second synopsis on what's been up with me. If you don't care, you hurt my feelings. Skip to this timestamp, you big meanie. Now, I'm sure you have some questions. Zenkai, why were you gone so long? Employment. Zenkai, do you like your job? No. Zenkai, if you're uploading this video right now, does that mean you are no longer employed? No. I'm still very much employed, unfortunately. Zenkai, how's your dog doing? It's quite alright. Thanks for asking. Riza recently turned 3. As for me, I've been working on some things. I stopped vaping and I lost about 15 pounds. The goal is to lose about 50 pounds by the end of the year. To aid that effort, I've been doing a bit of weightlifting in my home gym that I've gradually been adding to for the past 4 or 5 months. There was one month where I spent way too much money on DoorDash, and frankly, I disgusted myself. So now I have permanently banned myself from food ordering apps and fast food. And as a direct result, I've become much better at cooking, and quite frankly, I can make some bomb-ass food now. So yeah, that's about it. What did you guys do this past year? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Also, with this comeback, I'm announcing a 1,000 subscriber special that I would love to hit by June. This channel is very small and not monetized, so every subscription helps immensely. I'll talk a bit more about this at the end of the video, but anyways, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. The best way I could describe this game is if you took parts of Assassin's Creed, Shadow of Mordor, Dragon's Dogma, and Red Dead Redemption, don't worry about which parts, put them in a pot, sprinkled some MMO seasoning in there, and then you stirred the ever-loving shit out of it. At the end, what are you left with? A game that has divided many. And I'm just going to hit you with my review right now so you know where I sit. It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Maybe a 7 or a 6 if you can't stand open world and you need a good story to stay engaged. Yo, editing Zenkai here. And Riza. I'm actually going to bump my rating up to a 9 because of the latest patch for the game. There's been like 4 patches since the game came out, and each one has simply just made the game better. I'm very optimistic for the future of this game. I mean, there's a lot of studios that just drop their game at release, and they barely touch it. They barely fix anything. These guys are fixing a lot of stuff. They're adding a lot of things that people are asking for. They're streamlining the game. It's just getting better in every way. Like, for those of you that are planning on, you know, maybe picking this game up in like a year or 2, maybe when it's on sale, you may be sitting on a 10 in 2 years from now. I have about 86 hours, and I've completed up to chapter 9 out of 12, not including the epilogue and prologue. You know, normally I would complete the story of a game before talking about it, but this game's narrative is so tried and tested that I have frankly nothing to say about it. Also, I can barely remember anything, especially not the names of the characters. I used 5 vacation days so I could play the game for the entire week of its release. Do I regret it? Kinda. I won't even give you a spoiler warning because I literally can't even recall anything of substance. You play as Cliff, a Greymane in the world of Pywell. You and your tribe essentially get wiped out by these bandits called the Brown Bears or whatever the fuck. Their leaders slit your throat, but you end up coming back to life Shadow of Mordor style. The main goal of the game is to find the missing Greymanes and get revenge on those that have wronged you. I know that sounds short, but that's about it. It's not very complex. Maybe the final 3 chapters are hiding something that will wow me, but currently, I cannot jive with this narrative at all. And frankly, I find the concept of the Abyss to not be that interesting. I mean, the Void from Dishonored is a supernatural world done right. Like, it was mysterious. The Outsider was this enigmatic, godlike figure that gave you your powers seemingly on a whim. Whereas this game's, I mean, God, if you could even call him that. He has like one cool scene where he yoinks you through time.
So, a rat has crept in.
Man, I fell down to my knees when the law came.
And then you beat him up when he's old.
I don't want to do this no more.
I'm sure you might also be wondering, you know, how the hell did you get back to the present? We had some of that fine-ass witch magic.
Testicular torture!
So if the main story is that much of a slog to get through, are the side quests any better? As I could say about many things with this game, yes and no. The side questing, much like the main story, leaves a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. For every good side quest, there are 5 or 10 meaningless and straight up insulting to your time quests. There are multiple quests where you are to just deliver an item to an NPC about 30-ish steps away. They'll say something like, "Hey, can you deliver this? I can't leave my shop. Look at all these customers." He's like, "Right over there. Thanks." Like, motherfucker, do you not have a lunch break? Another classic formula they use is the old 600-meter horseback conversation, followed by an NPC suddenly becoming busy and then conveniently leaving you to do whatever they talked about alone. It's just a bit too predictable. And this game calls just about everything a quest. So, I mean, this part of the video could be pretty long. I'll just try to rattle through the rest of the questing types because a lot of it is just repeat stuff. A very common one is to capture an enemy fort by killing a certain amount of enemies and then killing the boss. There are various puzzles around the world which require some amount of thinking outside the box or a clever use of game mechanics.
Oh, dang it.
And these also tend to double as fast travel points. A lot of these quests, like, maybe also involve, like, repairing some kind of structure. There's a bunch of mini games, like Duo, it's essentially poker, arm wrestling, grappling, unarmed, archery contests. Of which those archery contests, they had to nerf because the NPCs had Olympic-level reaction times. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't impossible to win. It's just, there was, you know, probably a 70 or 75% chance you're going to assuredly lose. You know, there's bounties, delivery quests, things like mazes, legendary animals. This game has so many mechanics that, quite frankly, we're probably still going to be finding them 2 years from now. I mean, hell, it'd be easier to say what this game doesn't have. Like what? Karaoke? What I've felt, what I've known, never shine through in what I've shown. But then there's challenges. We gotta talk about these damn challenges. This game doesn't even give you the luxury of starting with challenges to do. That's pretty devious for a game that is so MMO-coded. You have to find these sealed cubes that are just randomly placed around the world to unlock each and every challenge. Whether it be for collectibles, exploration, or minigames, all of them are unlocked this way. By the way, these aren't all gimmies either. One of them, I think, has you travel from like one side of the continent to the other with a time limit of 30 minutes. That wouldn't be a problem if the world wasn't littered with mountains. I'll tell you what, I just got done playing Far Cry 3 and 4. I am so sick and tired of mountains. The worst part is, the reward is not commensurate. It does not matter how hard you worked. You always get the one cube. For you achievement hunters, this is going to be brutal. Almost all of the achievements seem to be challenge related. So you're going to have to find each and every cube and then do each and every challenge, as well as go to pretty much every point of interest on the map. How many days, weeks, months, hell, years would you need? One of the challenges is collecting something like 76 arthropods. I'd like to see the sorry sap that has to make a guide video for that. So despite the frequent repetition, the quests do provide a very varied experience across your playthrough. This is a sandbox game. So the beauty of it is in the journey and not so much the destination. There is so many different things to do around the world that the mundaneness of the quest almost seems fulfilling in its immersive qualities. Not every quest is going to be slay the dragon. Sometimes you got to get some marbled meat for your clansmen. And that's real. You know, Skyrim wasn't beloved because of its great main story. Most people absolutely despise the Blades. It has a good world, solid side questing, and it's fun to explore the points of interest. It's not about killing Alduin. It's the journey of getting there and what's beyond that. That's what makes this game so good for so many people. In a sense, it's a true sandbox and execution, which is precisely what it sought to be. I have a very mixed opinion on the controls of this game, which apparently couldn't be a more lukewarm take. This is a major gripe for a lot of people, and I feel it too. There is just so much random bullshit bound to your buttons that it becomes a headache to juggle. I only play with controller. It's not very good. From what I hear, the keyboard controls belong in a fucking museum because they should have been done and dusted in QA. What the hell were they thinking? The various spirit powers that Cliff can use are neat, but I do find myself really just only gravitating towards Force Palm for most of my combat, as well as the Blinding Slash combo. These are really your two lifelines in most combat encounters, especially bosses. I mean, you really don't need anything beyond that. I mean, the game has a pretty decent grappling system with some humorous moves. I don't really use it a whole lot, but I mean, it is pretty cool. There are ranged options, but I found them to be just profoundly weak. Maybe I have to upgrade my bow. Oh, yeah, there's upgrades in this game, by the way. It's called Refinement, and there's 10 levels. Not every piece of gear can be refined, and you can slot special perks into your gear for special effects. So these items that are needed can be bought or found across the world, and let me tell you, you better get farming because you need a lot, and it would be completely mind-numbing to try maxing out multiple armor sets. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. The only reason I can see is to circumvent the warmth system, because being too hot or cold impacts your stamina. And to add to that, those items that you slot into your equipment are essentially how you create your builds, because for the most part, stat spreads on most gear is relatively similar. You can just go ahead and use armor for appearance rather than focusing on individual stats. Food is going to be your main healing source, and it is very powerful. To be honest, it kind of trivializes a lot of encounters because you can simply win a battle of attrition with hundreds of item slots of stacks of food that can damn near heal you from half your health. And they don't really have a long cooldown time either. The problem is, I mean, food doesn't always help if you're facing, you know, a boss capable of one-shotting you, of which there are many. Most bosses don't tend to one-shot you. It's just they have a particular attack where maybe it has a lot of points that can hit you in your hitbox and you get fucked. It's unfortunate. It happens. I will say the boss design it's kind of rough. My biggest gripe is being unable to damage the boss. They enter a shield phase where they don't get staggered or they take damage. I affectionately call it the nuh-uh phase because it's like a child cheating, making up rules to win a game. I personally feel like enemies should never be immune to you. Otherwise, like, what is the point of the fight if you can just turn off the damage whenever you want? I'm just at the mercy of the boss at that point, and it completely invalidates a more aggressive playstyle because now I have to stop everything and play defense just because the boss decided I can't hit him anymore. And it should be noted, there are two other playable characters, Damien and Oogla Boogaloo, whatever the hell his name is. I will say it's a bold decision to give us the third playable character in the 7th chapter of the game. Mind you, that was like 50-ish hours in for me. They do have different play styles and skill trees. Oogla Boogaloo uses close ranged axes, I think, and Damien is mainly built around being ranged, I think. I don't really know. I really only ever use these characters when I was forced to at gunpoint. Someone might get enjoyment out of their kits. Not me. I've already been playing with Cliff for about 50 hours. There's no shot I'm learning another character, devoting the cubes to them, and getting equipment upgrade resources, because these guys don't share armor either. I mean, I guess you could reset your cubes in the menu, like, each time you switch, but why even go through the hassle? So I have to vent about something. The game's responsiveness for its controls. You know, sometimes it just doesn't feel like the buttons I press do anything, or they're just kind of delayed. For example, you utilize a 3 downward force palm combo to frequently get very high up in the air. Yeah, mountains, remember? Sometimes that third one just doesn't go off. No particular reason why. You pressed one button a little too early in a multi-button combo. I can assure you that move is not going to work, and you're going to end up doing something you didn't want to do. I mean, that's the problem you have when you map so much bullshit to everything. You just end up making deliberate actions or completely random actions by mistake. And there's also this mud-like feeling to the movement. I don't know. It's weird. It just kind of feels like I'm moving through like a thin layer of mud. It might be just the way the animations are. I don't know. It's kind of barely noticeable, but it does make the movement a bit more janky than I would like it to be. The game world is huge and pretty stable for a 2026 release. I've only crashed a single time across all of my hours. Dragon's Dogma 2 is still to this day the one game that has crashed more than all games I have ever played combined. A single crash in about 80 hours is a blessing in comparison. DLSS with frame gen runs the game pretty good with my hardware at 1440p. I tried 4K for a while, but I was getting, you know, half my current FPS. It was sitting at like 70, but I was also getting like some really bad stuttering. But now with like frame gen, I'm getting about 150 something, and it looks pretty fluid. And I run everything at cinematic quality. I can't do max lighting. I don't know what they did to the max lighting setting in this game, but if you do it, you're probably going to get a quarter of your frames that... It's pretty bad. Not even frame gen can save you. And I'm pretty impressed with the stability of the game in large battles. Like there's damn near like 100 or 200, you know, people on screen, and the game is running flawlessly. It's not really, there's no frame drops to be found. I mean, overall, it's pretty nice, and they are constantly improving it with some updates. I do feel like after one of their patches, the game was running a little bit better. I don't know, could be just placebo. So I haven't encountered a whole lot of bugs. Mostly just weird texture glitches due to DLSS. Sometimes textures can look really low res for no real good reason. I don't really know why. I mean, it's not really a big deal. It's kind of hardly noticeable at times. The main bug I am experiencing is I can't wait to fast forward time at beds or bonfires. This is a bit of a headache for dispatch missions in your camp. I think it takes about like an hour of real world time for a day to pass, and that's kind of unfortunate because you can just skip that in about 30 seconds if I was able to wait, but I can't. Another problem is the foliage. It can be a bit busy. We're talking Hurricane Sandy levels of movement, and when combined with the dynamic lighting and shadows, it can be a bit nauseating to look at. I'm not sure if it's the DLSS or ambient inclusion, but foliage and hair can look straight up terrible at times. I don't really know why. However, when the lighting hits the map just right on my 4K OLED, I will say the quality is stunning. In fact, my father saw me playing the game the other day when he stopped by, and he made a remark. He said it damn near looks like a video. Now, I don't really know what that means, but I think what he means is it looks pretty good. So yeah, that about sums up my experience with the game. I could have gone into more depth, but I wanted to try making this video a bit more brief than my others since I don't have as much time to edit anymore. I feel like the game excels far more than it flounders, and I appreciate the level of effort they put into making a large, believable, yet fun to explore world. I will very likely be still playing this game for some time, probably until I beat the main story, and then we'll see. Let me know in the comments what other kind of videos you guys would like to see. As I said, I don't have as much time as I used to, so I would like to try getting a video out maybe like at least once a week. This channel is very small. It is not monetized currently, so the biggest way you can help me out is by watching the video, dropping a like, and subscribing. I would really like to hit that 1,000 subscriber goal by June if possible. Every subscription is really appreciated. If you guys can help me out, thank you. Now, as for video ideas, what would you guys like to see? Would you like to see Resident Evil Requiem? I haven't seen anything on that game. I've actually never played a Resident Evil game, but I did recently buy Resident Evil 0 through 8 and including Village because it was on sale for like 35 bucks on Steam. So I was like, yeah, why the hell not? That about wraps up the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good one, and bye-bye.